Your biggest problem isn't a lack of options or a lack of ability. Your biggest problem is that you can't stop thinking. You're trapped in a perpetual loop of analysis. Should you take the new job? Should you leave the relationship? Should you send that text? You've read every article, weighed every pro and con list, and sought advice from a dozen people, and you are no closer to an answer than when you started. You miss this relentless rumination for deep thought or wisdom. You believe that if you just analyze the problem one more time, from one more angle, the perfect risk-free decision will magically appear. It will not. All this overthinking is not preparation. It's a high-level, sophisticated form of procrastination dressed up as intelligence. Here is the first brutal truth. Overthinking is a defense mechanism against accountability. The longer you stay in the analysis phase, the longer you can delay the inevitable moment when you have to choose and face the consequences. Choosing means risking failure, rejection, or regret. As long as the decision remains in the realm of theory, you are safe. You get the moral superiority of being the careful, cautious, thoughtful one, while simultaneously avoiding the scary, messy work of action. You are addicted to the feeling of being prepared, even if that preparation never actually leads to movement. This endless loop gives you the illusion of control while you are actively losing control of your life, which is currently stuck on pause. Think about how this toxic habit poisons your attraction dynamics. You meet someone great, but instead of enjoying the moment, you immediately launch into a mental calculus. Is this the right person? What are their flaws? How will this relationship end? You analyze every text for hidden meaning, every look for a deeper agenda. You are so busy predicting the potential failure that you miss the opportunity for genuine connection. You are literally thinking yourself out of a great relationship. This habit turns you into a frozen, emotionally unavailable prospect. You look indecisive and weak because you are incapable of simply showing up and being present. High-value, decisive people are not attracted to a partner who can't even choose a restaurant without a week of deliberation, let alone commit to a future. The shocking realization you need to confront is that the perfect information you are waiting for does not exist. The future is fundamentally unknowable. Every single person who has ever accomplished anything significant, started a business, moved to a new country, fallen in love, did so with incomplete data. They jumped, they risked, they failed, they learned, and they kept moving. Your desperate search for certainty is the reason you are stuck. You've placed an unattainable standard on the simple act of choosing, making it impossible for you to ever feel ready. Your overthinking isn't a sign of your intelligence, it's a fear of living without a safety net. The small but powerful mindset shift is this. Stop searching for the right decision and start embracing the committed decision. There is no perfect path. There is only the path you choose and then dedicate yourself to making successful. The power isn't in the choice itself. It's in the commitment after the choice. You are not paralyzed by complexity, you are paralyzed by comfort. Stop thinking and start moving. That's the only way out.
You've spent so long in the safe, air-conditioned tower of your mind that the raw, messy reality of action feels like a hostile foreign environment. You mistake the mental fatigue of rumination for hard work, but the truth is, all that brain power you expend on what-if scenarios is being completely wasted. It is a zero-sum game that yields no results. Your constant thinking isn't solving problems, it's creating them. Here is the second brutal truth. Your overthinking is a control fetish. You are obsessed with eliminating risk, eliminating failure, and eliminating the possibility of regret. But a life lived without risk is a life not lived at all. When you try to control every variable, you are telling the universe and yourself that you cannot handle discomfort. You are signaling that you are too weak, too fragile to adapt if things go sideways. This obsession with control is what makes you so unattractive and emotionally draining. Decisive, high-functioning people are not risk avoidant. They are risk mitigators who trust their ability to course correct. They understand that a mistake is just information, not a catastrophe. Consider the time you waste. You spend 5 days deciding on a decision that, regardless of the outcome, will have a 10% impact on your life. Meanwhile, the the 90% of your life that requires consistent daily execution, your health, your career habits, your core relationships, is being neglected. You use the big theoretical decision as a perfect distraction from the small, concrete decisions that actually build a life. You are mentally rearranging the furniture on the Titanic instead of getting into a lifeboat. The fear of making the wrong choice about which path to take is less terrifying than the certainty of having to walk one step down a path, which is why you stay frozen at the crossroads. The shocking truth about your relationship behavior is that your indecision is a form of betrayal. When you are in a partnership and you can't commit to plans, can't make firm choices, and constantly hedge your bets, you are communicating profound disrespect to your partner. You are telling them, you are not important enough for me to simply choose to be here with you right now. You force them to carry the weight of all the small decisions, draining their mental energy and creating a feeling of profound instability. Your overthinking doesn't make you a careful partner, it makes you a profoundly selfish one. You prioritize your own comfort and fear of regret over the shared well-being and forward momentum of the relationship. The next small, actionable mindset shift is to implement the 48-hour rule, or 48-minute rule for small choices. When a decision presents itself, you give yourself a hard, non-negotiable deadline. You get that time to gather the minimum necessary information, and then you must choose and commit. If it's a small choice, like sending a text or picking a place for dinner, 48 minutes. If it's a significant choice, like a new job or ending a relationship, 48 hours. When the time is up, you pick the best available option, burn the boats, and pivot all your energy from analysis to execution. Stop waiting for clarity to strike. Clarity follows action. Force the choice.
You're still here, still running the mental spreadsheets, still terrified of the finality of a choice? You need to understand that the pain of indecision is already greater than the pain of a bad decision. Indecision is a chronic disease that slowly drains your life force. A bad decision is an acute injury. It hurts like hell, but it heals, and it leaves you with a scar that makes you smarter. You are actively choosing the chronic suffering because it feels less intense than the acute shock. Here is the final, ultimate truth. The fear of regret is a far greater curse than regret itself. You are so desperate to avoid the future feeling of, I should have done X, that you are guaranteeing the present feeling of, I should have done anything. The biggest regret in life is almost never the things you tried and failed at. It's the things you desperately wanted and were too paralyzed to attempt. By staying frozen, you are maximizing your eventual regret. You're guaranteeing that 5 years from now, you'll look back and see a ghost of the person you could have been, perpetually stuck in the same mental parking lot. Your attraction dynamics will never improve until you internalize this. Decisiveness is the ultimate sign of high value. It signals competence, self-trust, and courage. You don't attract strong partners by being perfectly cautious. You attract them by being a person who takes responsibility for their life, makes a clear choice, and leads. You need to become the person who says, this is what we are doing, and then backs that choice up with commitment. Not the person who constantly throws their hands up and asks, what do you think? The final mindset shift is not a tip. It's a command. You are going to treat every decision that is not life or death as a 70% rule. If you have 70% of the information you need and the choice feels 70% right, you pull the trigger. The last 30% is not found in more thinking, it is found in the doing. You fill that gap with energy, adaptability, and execution. The only way to move from the theory of a better life to the reality of one is to break the spell of overthinking and embrace the messiness of action. Stop using your brain as a barrier against your own potential. Stop thinking about starting. Start. That is the only action that will redeem you.